Hello from YouTube, everyone. So to keep things rolling, let's dive right in and start talking about a few of the prototypes that we've been making. So this prototype on screen now is actually a prototype for the Snail AI, which will primarily serve as an obstacle for Peblito. This snail will move about a set area and leaves a slime trail that, if the player walks through it, will slow them down. Also, when Peblito is within range of the snail, it will adjust its path so that it travels towards Peblito and brings its slime trail along with it. The player can either avoid this obstacle, or if they so choose, they can destroy the snail's shell by bursting through it, and this will cause the snail to panic and retreat out of the play space. We have created this panicked and retreat state, but we are still working on the state transitions, and this should be done within the month of May. We've also been working on getting death implemented within our game. So on the right-hand side, we have a pause on death function, which is where if the player interacts with something that kills it, whether it's a lava ball, a falling object, or anything else like that, the frame will actually freeze so that the player can see exactly what killed them. In our previous playtest, we have gotten some feedback about players being unsure of what killed them, and this will help to clarify exactly what caused their death. And then on the left-hand side of the screen, we have our new lava kill box, which as soon as the player touches lava, they will die and then slowly sink into the pool of lava. We've also been working on our vine width visual again, and this time we've added some swing rotation to Peblito so that his body now holds the same angle of the vine he is swinging on, rather than always remaining perpendicular to the ground, which is what he did previously. This will help to make our visuals seem even more realistic and natural to the player. We've also completed work on our chase cam for our Boulder chase scene. And in this clip, we actually have the focus of the chase cam dynamically updating based on the player's distance from the boulder so that both the player and the boulder are always within view. Within this system, our designers can actually customize where the focus of the camera primarily is, whether they want that to be evenly between the boulder and Peblito, focus a bit more on Peblito, or focus on the boulder while keeping both always in view. We have also been making a few rolling improvements so that we can now roll on various surfaces and have nice smooth transitions in between rolling and utilizing other mechanics. So this will offer some more interesting gameplay and combinations of mechanics, as you can see here, where the player just rolled off a ramp and then uses a burst to travel around a corner, or vine swing across a gap, which they wouldn't have been able to make if they just rolled. We have also been continuing updating some of our action blocks. And with this action block here, this is one of our rolling action blocks that has been recently updated. And within the clip, we can see two different paths that the player can take, whether they want to travel along a bit of an elevated surface or something that is a bit more close to the ground, a little safer for the player, and easier for them to navigate. But if players do choose to take these risks, they will be rewarded with larger sums of collectibles, which you can see sort of towards the end. We will have a ramp that the player can jump off of and vine swing on to grab a very large collectible. So within this gameplay demo, I will take you guys through our cavern and some of the updates that we have been making to that through our first tree module, and then 3 action blocks at the end of the video. Since Vertical Slice, we have been continuing to update and polish the scene. One of the first things that you might notice is that we have implemented our new running animation. In terms of gameplay, we have also added 2 new action blocks, one of which is this gust wall that you can see directly in front of the player. We now have player death implemented within our levels, as well as the respawn system. As the player does get closer to the cavern floor, please take a look at the lava, which has changed since the last time you all saw it. Initially, we were using the water simulation that comes with UE 4.26, but we have made the decision to get rid of the water sim within our game, so now our lava is all fish. We've also made some updates to the spline that controls the moving platforms, so now the platforms come around in more regular intervals than we previously did. Up ahead, you will see the other game changes we made, where we've added this vine whip, so the player can swing across that gap and onto the rest of the levels within it. So for our tree module, this still is very much a work in progress, but it is to the state of having our artists give their first pass at it. And within this scene, we have all of our assets visually represented either by final assets or proxies. Pablito is looking at a very large wagon and cart in front of him, and then a lantern off to his left side, which we will continue to work on and add into the game as they're finished up. As the player is primarily traveling vertically within this level, our gameplay has placed a heavy emphasis on our jump pads, burst, dash, and vine whip, although we will include some bits of rolling within later modules of this level. Here the player is making their way to that rainbow portal, which is just a placeholder while we continue development on the following modules, which then this will be replaced with the transition to the other modules within our tree level. But as I mentioned, this is still a work in progress, and we will continue to polish this and make it better in the coming months. For action blocks, similar to last status update, first, I will show you the old action block, and then we will follow it with different versions of solving the new action block. So here we can see that we've added a few more gusts, and the player has at least 3 different ways that they can solve this action block. With this old version of our action block, we were actually experimenting with jump pads on the wall. And in our updated version, we did get rid of this, but decided to incorporate a few more jump pads and another vine swing. This is the last action block that I will be taking you through today, and this is the old version of the action block that was actually tested in our most recent focus group test. Here we have 2 different ways that the player could proceed through this action block based on their varying skill sets and what they are comfortable with within the game. Alrighty, well that is it for mechanics and gameplay, so I will see you all back in Zoom.